The Quilters Guild Museum collection contains over 900 objects that span over 3 centuries of patchwork and quilting history. All of our items feature one or more of the crafts of patchwork, quilting and appliqué, but their style, age, size and function varies greatly. This video compares some opposites from our collection: our oldest, newest, biggest and smallest items. The oldest item of patchwork in our collection is the 1718 silk patchwork coverlet. Made from mosaic patchwork with the date 1718 worked into the piece, it is a rare survivor from the early 18th century and is therefore a piece of international significance for understanding our patchwork and quilting heritage. The design is incredibly complex. It has 182 square blocks that feature a range of geometric designs, floral and figurative motifs. The fabrics, almost exclusively silks, represent nearly 100 years of fabric collecting, with one green silk dating from the 1620s. Unfortunately, despite the presence of the patchworked initials EH, we don't know the exact maker of the coverlet. But we do know the piece was made in Oldbourne in Wiltshire, most likely by a family of the farming gentry, who had access to fabrics, skills and leisure time to make this fascinating piece. Whilst the 1718 is the oldest patchwork piece, we have another contender for oldest collection piece in the form of a wholecloth cock quilt, made in the first decades of the 18th century. The design of this small white linen quilt features arches containing different motifs of a mermaid, castle, fashionably dressed people, a camel, a lion and a boat, and is made using the corded quilting technique. The design is so intricate that it's difficult to see the detail, but these images show some of the decorative motifs. As patchwork and quilting were two very different and separate crafts in the 18th century, it is likely that this quilt was the product of a professional workshop. Historic pieces are very important, but we also recognise the need to collect contemporary work to represent quilt making in the present. Our most recent work is from 2019, and rather than being just one piece, it is a collection of work that was commissioned by the Quilters Guild in celebration of our 40th anniversary. This 40s collection consists of 21 pieces from quilt makers across the British Isles. They vary in style and techniques, showing the vast range of skilled workmanship being produced across the country, and the many different artistic impressions and inspirations from a single theme. Some are very traditional in style, whilst others show a more abstract and contemporary design. Some are political, some very personal, and some specific to the Quilters Guild as an organisation. One of the largest quilts in our collection measures a huge 3 meters by 2 meters and is a contemporary piece called Field Force. Made by quilt artist Michelle Walker in 1996, this quilt was designed to be seen hanging on the wall rather than flat on a bed. The top layer is made from household plastic bags arranged in a diagonal strippy design, and the piece has been quilted with a tire tread pattern that represents the destruction of the natural landscape near the artist's home in the South Downs. Our largest heritage piece is an appliqué coverlet that dates from 1787 and measures 275 centimetres wide and 282.5 centimetres long. It was made by Mary Armitage, who embroidered her name and the date on the piece, though unfortunately we know nothing else about her. However, her use of expensive, fashionable printed cottons and the large size of this coverlet show that she must have been from the higher social classes. One of the smallest items in this collection are these shadow-quilted baby slippers, made in the 1930s, which measure just 5 centimetres wide and 11 centimetres long. The slippers have pink flowers on the front with green leaves, and pink and green leaves on the crossbar, which is fastened by a small loop and a button. Shadow quilting uses a brightly coloured wool stuffed behind an opaque top layer, so that pastel shades show through to the front. The smallest patchwork hexagons feature in this miniature quilt by Maureen Hoyle, made in 1989. Each tiny hexagon measures just 0.6 centimetres or 1/4 of an inch, and the whole quilt measures 28 centimetres by 38 centimetres. Even more amazingly, each shape was made over paper templates. Now that is very fiddly indeed.